NFL draft season has begun for Frogs Angels, even though we still have some football left to be played. But today's video is a stock report. Post bowl games, we'll have an updated NFL mock draft later this week. We did our NFL playoff picks, wild card round picks, and Super Bowl picks in the previous video, so please check that out if you haven't. But let's get into the stock report. I'm going to go through every single position group, stock up, stock down for a lot of these players. Some of these players haven't declared yet, but we're kind of going with it as of now. We're going to use some underclassmen, so you expect most of these guys to declare. They're good enough to be drafted. But let's get into some offense. We're going to start with the quarterbacks, obviously. As far as stock up, Mason Rudolph leads that category. Oklahoma State quarterback had an excellent bowl game against a solid Virginia Tech defense. This guy's kind of been a first rounder for me all along, but was kind of borderline for most people. I think he's locked himself in the first round. In my opinion, I think he should be a first rounder. He has arm talent. He really can throw the ball. He's smart. The question is that Oklahoma State offense, how's he gonna transition to the NFL? I think he'll be fine. I think he has the talent. I think he's smart. I think he can learn the NFL offense. And the one thing that I'm worried about is if he's rushed a lot. Seems to have a solid O-line, Oklahoma State. Under pressure, that's where he struggles. But I think he's skilled enough. He's really moving up the boards for me. Maybe my quarterback number 2. We won't get into rankings yet, but Mason Rudolph, definitely stock up. Looking at Josh Allen, the quarterback from Wyoming, stock slightly up, I'd say, for me. I'm not as high on him as other people might be. The problem with him is production against good teams. Not so good. Played Iowa, played Nebraska, played Oregon. Did not do well in those games. A lot of interceptions. Decision making is a big question mark. People like that he's in a pro style offense, like his arm talent. He's big, strong. If you watch his highlight tape, you're probably gonna fall in love with him, but you're not gonna see the negatives. Makes some ridiculous throws. That shows that he has the potential. He's very good running outside the pocket and throwing, very accurate. But again, the problem is against the good competition. We've seen solid prospects, top prospects from schools like similar to Wyoming. They went high, but they also had good production against good teams. Josh Allen does not have that, but he had a great bowl game. I know a lot of teams like him, so his stock is definitely up, just I'd say slightly right now. Other quarterbacks, Ryan Finley from NC State, very good bowl game, very good season. This is a sleeper for sure. NC State quarterback, game manager, really not going to wow you in any category, but he's a game manager. Reminds me of like a Sam Bradford, I'd say, but had an excellent bowl game, excellent season for NC State. There's always that quarterback every year at the draft when we get closer to the draft. That's kind of like that surprise guy that people are talking about. Could be a first rounder. They never really end up being first rounders, like Davis Webb. I remember Savage when he was coming out. All of a sudden, people were like, this guy can be a first rounder. Scouts really like him, but they don't end up going first round. This could be the guy. He can get some first round talk. Maybe a team's desperate enough, they'll take him in the late first round, but I'm thinking more second or third round. But excellent player, excellent season. Stock up for him. Wake Forest quarterback John Wolford. Nobody is talking about John Wolford. This guy can play. He had an excellent season. Great under pressure, too. Can run. I mean, that Wake Forest offense, it's set up for success, I guess. How's he going to transition to the NFL? That's the question. But he had a great season. Threw for a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. Only 6 interceptions. Really, really good under pressure. Good decision making. I like John Wolford. Really up in the air where he's going to come off the board at. Nobody's talking about him as of now, but definitely stock up for him. As far as stock down, a lot of quarterbacks here. Lamar Jackson throws 4 picks in his bowl game against Mississippi State. That was a surprise. I still like Lamar Jackson. Just needs to go to the right team. 4 interceptions is not good. But Jared Goff did throw 6 interceptions against Utah, so maybe one game doesn't really matter. Lamar Jackson, I still like him, but stock is down because of that game. Stock's definitely down. Sam Darnold did not have a good game. If you listened to my mock drafts, I wasn't as high on Sam Darnold as others. He could still come back to school, which I would recommend, but I think he may come out. decision making. He threw an interception and fumbled early in that game. Pick six, actually, to Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State's defense good, yeah, but Baker Mayfield tore him up. Iowa scored 55 points on them. So, I mean, if Sam Darnold's really a top pick, you think he would have done better than what he did. Second half was definitely better for him, but didn't put any points on the board. So Sam Darnold's definitely a risky top pick if he's chosen first or second, which sounds like he might be. So stock down for Sam Darnold. I wasn't as high on him as others as it was, but I still thought he's a first rounder because of his potential. But we'll see. We'll see if he even comes out. Baker Mayfield, I'd say slightly down. Stock slightly down. First half was great. Second half, he struggled a little bit, but the main thing is it seems like they didn't really trust Baker Mayfield. After he threw that bad pick, way overthrown. But it seems like they didn't trust the Heisman Trophy winner, and I know that's mainly the coaching's fault, but that's going to scare teams a little bit. If they didn't trust him at the college level, I think that's going to scare him. And he excellent player. Obviously, won the Heisman Trophy. He was an accurate passer all year. Question is, that offense may be made for him. Seems like guys, they weren't like wide open, but it seems like somebody was always open, so he just had to throw in the area. So Baker Mayfield's a very hard one to tell. Like, how is he going to transition to the NFL? Very hard to tell. I think he's a first-round quarterback still, but I'd say stock slightly down because of that second half and overtime. Because where was the trust? They didn't trust their best player in college football. That's gonna scare some teams. Any quarterbacks for stock down? I think that'll do it. Josh Rosen pretty much stayed the same. Didn't play. I guess that was smart. I would like to see him play, though. Is it enough for him to be number one overall player taken first for the Browns? Is it enough? He probably will be the first player off the board, but still remains my number one quarterback. Mason Rudolph, big riser for the quarterbacks. But on to the running back, Saquon Barkley. Might be the best player in the draft. I'd say between him, Quentin Nelson. I really like Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame. He's a sure thing. Pro Bowl, offensive lineman. I'm going to guarantee that. So you look at those two players, those I think, in my opinion, are the top two players in the draft. Got to take a look at Josh Rosen for that too, because he might be the number one overall pick. But Barkley really is his stock really up. I don't know if it's really up. He's been doing that all year. Excellent game, so he definitely helped himself. But Darius Geis, LSU, didn't really do a whole lot in the bowl game, but I see him as a better NFL running back than he was a college running back. He's just one of those guys. He showed he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. The guy's just, for his size and strength, he's pretty quick, pretty fast, hits the hole hard. This is an NFL running back. I think stock is up for him. I think he's a first-round running back. Who else do I have his stock up? John Kelly, Tennessee running back, declares for the draft. A little bit of a surprise. I really like John Kelly. If you followed me last year, I liked Alvin Kamara. I had him as my number 16 player in the entire draft. He ends up going third round. John Kelly is similar to Kamara. Similar. Breaks a lot of tackles and has speed. That's what Kamara was surprising, that for his size and speed, that how many tackles he broke, and he's still doing it for the Saints in the NFL. The difference between John Kelly and Kamara's more of a smart runner. He breaks tackles and scores and gets good yards because he's a smart runner. He's strong and he's fast. John Kelly's strong and fast, but rather than being a smart runner, he's kind of an angry runner, very aggressive. His stiff arm, he has a very good stiff arm, but that's why Kamara is definitely a better prospect than Kelly, because he's smarter than Kelly. Kelly just wants to run somebody over, and sometimes that hurts the guys at the next level. But overall, I think his stock is up. For me, he obviously, Tennessee didn't play in a bowl game, but reviewing John Kelly, he's a great runner. Could be another Kamara. I just don't think he's as good as Kamara. But John Kelly's a guy to look out for, second, third round, I think. Sony Michel, Georgia running back. Obviously, a big fumble hurt him in that Oklahoma game, semifinal game. But overall, I think he really helped himself. Speed, and he can break tackles. He hits the hole. Everything right for the NFL. Another guy that's probably going to be better in the NFL than he was at the college level, mainly because he split with Nick Chubb. I actually like Sony Michel better than Nick Chubb for the NFL. Combining his speed with his elusiveness. I think he's the better guy. Nick Chubb does break a lot of tackles. Is he going to be able to break a lot of tackles to the next level? He could. But I just like Sony Michel. I think he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Maybe he didn't do it enough at Georgia, but I think he can do it in the NFL, so I like him. Rashad Penny, San Diego State. Another guy I got to review lately. I really like him. Not at all like Donnell Pumphrey from last year. Uh, More physical running back, can break tackles, really does it all. Smart running back, hits the hole. That's where guys don't really transition to the NFL. They don't hit the hole. They have the speed or they can break tackles, but maybe they're not the smartest runners. I think he's got it. He's really on the rise for me. Another guy, Akram Wadley from Iowa. Another guy that I think could be a better NFL player than he was in college. Excellent college career. Another smart runner. Just I'm looking for these smart runners, and there's quite a few. There is a long list of running backs. This is a stacked running back class. I think for that second to third round grade, there's a lot of them. I think there's going to be guys that won't go, and they'll go fourth, fifth, even though they have second, third round grade, just because there's so many. Like Penny and Wadley, where are they going to go? They might get moved back a little bit because of the other talent. Damian Harris, Alabama running back. Similar to Darius Geis, I noticed that for his strength, he has a good burst of speed, can hit the hole quick. Uh, Combined with that strength, that helped him a lot. This could be a guy that could possibly sneak in the end of the first round. I'd say second round as of now because of the lack of receptions. NFL teams are looking for that. So Damian Harris, like him. Sleeper for you guys, Larry Rose from New Mexico State. This guy can run the ball and he can catch the ball out of the backfield very well at a high level. I think might have been second out of these running backs in terms of receiving yards after Saquon Barkley. Lack of carries. I think he's split is a problem, I guess, but he runs the ball well, and then he comes in, catches the ball out of the backfield very well. So Larry Rose is a guy that is a sleeper I like a lot. As far as stock down, one of the biggest fallers for me is Josh Adams, running back from Notre Dame. I had this guy as a first-round talent. He still might be, as far as skill, first round, but he is really just, I don't know, production just went down, coming off the field with injuries, constantly out of the game. I don't know if that's him taking himself out. I don't know if that's Notre Dame being careful, but he's wearing braces on his knees. His knees are all messed up. So production started going down. So it's very scary, and he can be a hell of a third down back. Somebody might draft him for a third down back later in the draft. But this guy's went to from a first rounder to me to day 3 probably. There's probably teams that scratch him off the board because I think he's constantly hurt, and I think he's getting worse because of his injuries, and he's playing through them. That's a good thing, but didn't do too well in the bowl game. It was almost like Dexter Williams was Notre Dame's better back, and he got only a couple of carries, so it almost ended up being Josh Adams wasn't their best back. So it's kind of a shame because he has the skill. It's definitely there, but somebody could get a good third down back here. Very interesting prospect to look out for. Bo Scarborough, stock down just because the lack of carries, really lack of action. Damian Harris has taken over, so that's really the only reason the stock is down for him. Another one, I wouldn't want to say stock up or down. Bryce Love, kind of similar to Josh Adams, constantly hurt. Very tough player though. Then gets back out there. Josh Adams is constantly hurt, and then kind of production going down a little bit. Bryce Love's production's still there, so you got to respect him for that. You got to really like that. There's some teams that are gonna love that. Like, this guy's tough. He can get in there and play at a high level, but he's just constantly hurt coming out. So some teams might scratch him. I don't know if they'll scratch him off the board completely, but he'll definitely move down. So a guy that I had as a late first round, maybe second round talent. Another very interesting prospect. Where is he gonna come off the board? Because he's very tough, but he keeps coming off the field with injuries. On to the receivers. Courtland Sutton remains my number one receiver in the draft. He just has a very high ceiling. Wouldn't really say stock up for now. But looking at Christian Kirk, very good bowl game. Kind of, I'd say, poor man's Odell Beckham, which is a good comparison. So Christian Kirk, in my opinion, is on the rise. Could got himself a first round grade, maybe late first round. We'll see. He could go as high as the Bears pick. It's the receivers, the order they're gonna come off is gonna be very interesting. Calvin Ridley, I'd say slightly stock up. Route running, we already knew he's a good route runner, but very good in that game against Clemson, even though the scary thing is lack of production against good teams in big games kind of disappears, but that is probably that Alabama offense. So good route running. I'm still not as high on him as other experts. He's not my number one receiver like most of them. He probably isn't even my number two, maybe not even my number three. I like the receivers in this class. I like Calvin Ridley, and his stock is up, but maybe a little on the overrated side, but definitely a first round prospect. Deshaun Hamilton from Penn State. Out of this whole video, this might be one of the biggest risers. Hell of a bowl game, excellent route runner, can go up and catch the ball. I really like Deshaun Hamilton. Um, I don't know where he's going to come off the board. It's hard to tell now, but I think he really is on the rise. I think late first wouldn't be too early, but I expect him maybe round 2 or 3. But I would use a round 2 on this guy. I really like Hamilton from Penn State. DJ Moore, Maryland receiver, another guy I got the chance to review, and I really like DJ Moore. I really like this guy, as Gruden would say. Could be another Stephon Diggs out of Maryland. Quick, elusive, just like Diggs. Diggs more of a downfield guy. I shouldn't say only that, but Diggs kind of could do all of it. DJ Moore maybe needs to work on his downfield game a little bit, but this guy is elusive. He breaks tackles when he has the ball in his hands. He's like a very fast running back, smart runner. I like DJ Moore. I like him as a second or third round guy. Needs the right offense. This guy's a threat, athletic threat. And I think he's going to be good in the NFL, even though Maryland wasn't a very good team. But this is like one of their very only good players, I should say. Marcel Aitman, the other Oklahoma State receiver, reminds me kind of a Mike Evans downfield guy, goes up and catches the ball well. Kind of another guy that's on the rise. I really like this receiver class. Could be stacked in the second, third round here. As far as stock down for receivers, I don't really have anybody that's stock went down. Maybe Deion Kane. He had a bad drop early in that Clemson Alabama game. Maybe some teams view him as just a speed guy. I think he's more than that, but maybe he dropped himself from late first to second round guy. I know experts are kind of split on him. Some have him as first round, some second, some even mid rounds, day 2, later day 2, early day 3. So that's an interesting one. Deion Kane, he's going to have a hell of a combine if he's there. So that's something to look out for. Tight ends, I don't really have any stock up, stock down for tight end. Mark Andrews is the number 1 tight end in this draft. Dallas Goedert from South Dakota State. He's a freak. He's on the rise. But will somebody take him in the first round? That's the question. Offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson. I already liked him. He was already in the question for my number 1 player in the draft, but he had an excellent game against LSU. This guy's just a beast. He's just going to be a Pro Bowl guard. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. How early is too early to take a guard? That's the question. Orlando Brown from Oklahoma. This guy's everywhere. He can come in and play tackle right away for you. Start day 1. Good in pass protection and for run blocking. You catch this guy downfield all the time in run plays, and he's an excellent player. Definitely helped himself. Billy Price from Ohio State can play center, can play guard. I think he helped himself. Probably early second round guy, I'd say. D-line, don't really have any input on that right now. No stock up, stock down. I'd say, the top guys, Christian Wilkins from Clemson, Daron Payne, he had a good game. He had the interception that got tipped to him. He had a touchdown on offense. Saw a missed tackle or two that I didn't like, so I wouldn't say stock up or stock down for him, but I'm thinking he's more of an early second round guy. Vita Vea, experts starting to move him into the first round. I don't see him in the first round. He's more just a run stopper, very good run stopper, but how early is it to take one of those guys in a passing league? I'd be surprised if he went first round for that reason. Maybe a team that is desperate for interior D lineman that wasn't that good at stopping the run this year. Maybe they need an upgrade, so maybe they take a little bit of a reach on him, but I think first round might be too early for just a pure run stuffer. Edge defenders, Sam Hubbard, Ohio State, really, really helped himself. Very good game, really, for the whole Ohio State defense. And he could have got himself into the first round, end of the first round, possibly second round. I feel more comfortable early second round for him. I feel like I'm saying that for a lot of guys. I think that day two talent in this draft is stacked. Maybe not the top 10 talent of last year's draft, but the depth of this draft is going to be really good. That day two is going to be, there's still going to be really good guys in on day three. So onto the linebackers, Roquan Smith really helped himself. Kind of first half kind of disappeared. Wasn't mentioned a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean he had a bad first half, but then second half, this guy's all over the place. If I had to point out a negative, some of these plays he was making, he was going to the ground a little too early. Knees were on the ground as he was making the tackle, even though he made the tackle. That would be the negative, but a rare trait that some of these defensive players you see in some of these defensive players, he has play recognition and awareness. He has it. Now, like the best guys on defense in football have those traits. It's something you look for, and it's something that I guess could be coached too, so he could become better in this. And I really like Roquan Smith for that reason. Top 10 player for sure. Rashaan Evans, Alabama linebacker, another one. He's all over the place. He makes his teammates better. I think he before he was like borderline late first, early second. I think stock up for him. Moved himself. Should be a close to a first round lock. Lorenzo Carter also helped himself. Not big time stock up or anything. Looking at Nwosu from USC. Another good guy. I know some people have him first round. I don't have him first round, but day two guy, good player. Oak Ronquo from Oklahoma. I wouldn't say stock up or stock down, kind of in the middle there. A couple plays, you'd be like, wow, this guy, yeah, first rounder. And then some plays, he kind of disappeared. So it's a tricky one. Definitely a tricky one. Oh, another stock up guy, Tremaine Edmonds, Virginia Tech inside linebacker. I really like Edmonds. He really helped himself this year in this recent bowl game. He's kind of just one of those guys that's all over the field. He may have made himself a first round player. He won't get out of the second round. As far as corners, Joshua Jackson, who was my number one corner as it was, the Iowa cornerback. He again got another pick, sealed deal in the bowl game. He really helped himself. I'd be surprised if this wasn't number one corner come draft time. He's just got it. He's got it, ball skills, and could pick it off and turn around a game, change the game. Levi Wallace, Alabama corner. No one is talking about Levi Wallace enough, I should say. This guy can play. He can play corners. Got all the mechanics down. And excellent game against Clemson. Excellent game against good competition. I don't know. He's a senior. I think that's maybe why he's not getting any first round talk. I think he knows how to play. I think he should be discussed more, and maybe even day two. Nobody's even talking about him there. I think he goes there, though. DeAndre Baker, corner from Georgia. Big corner, physical corner. Georgia defense might be the best defense even though they let up a lot of points. Might be the best defense in college football, and DeAndre Baker's a big part of that. Reminds me a little bit of Xavier Rhodes, who's might be the best corner in the NFL. Reminds me a little bit of him. Not as good, obviously, but I think coaches will fall in love with how big and physical he is at the corner position. That's getting more and more popular lately. Worried about him getting maybe penalties in the next level, pass interference, holding. Does do a little bit of that. Sometimes players get away with it in college, and they won't get away with it in the NFL. But big physical corner. Look out for this guy going earlier than expected because coaches could fall in love with this new prototype corner. I don't know if I have any stock downs for corners as of now. I don't think I do. Tavares McFadden maybe. I like Tavares McFadden, but last year looked like maybe a lock for a first round corner. This year maybe moved himself to the second round. Not as good as of play as last year, but I wouldn't say stock down. I think he's a good player. Maybe the other corner talent has moved him down a little bit. Still waiting to see if Jair Alexander from Louisville declares one of my favorite players in the draft. I think he's a lock for, in my opinion, he should be a lock first rounder. Will he go there? Just under 6 foot, so Teams are starting to look for the 6 foot and over guys, but I think he can play. I think he's a first round talent. Still waiting to see if he comes out. Safeties, I like Marcus Allen's game. I think he's a round 2 guy from Penn State. Ronnie Harrison is that borderline guy, round 1, round 2. I'm thinking more early round 2. Obviously, Minka Fitzpatrick and Derwin James, there should be locks in round 1. I think Van Smith from Clemson, I really like his game. He has some plays where it's like, that wasn't too good, but he's all over the field, very smart player. Overall, I think he helped himself playing against good competition all the time. He's undersized for a safety, I guess, but this guy's all over the place. He's a football player. That's what I like. He's definitely a football player. I think he'll be good at the next level. Where will he go in the draft? That's the question. Might be day 3, but I like Van Smith a lot. So that'll do it for the stock reports. I feel like I did a lot of talking, went over each position. There's obviously more players to talk about as we get closer. A lot of these guys should declare soon. Maybe some will go back. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody, but stay tuned for the updated mock drafts. And we're going to keep updating that, keep rolling out. We're position rankings, prospect rankings, NFL picks, playoff picks, Super Bowl picks, all of that. So stay tuned for all that. Please check it all out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Goodbye.